I'll go for Kerry if Donaghy's playing well.
I might take the opposite view of this occasion, I think in all the must-win games between these two teams since 2003, Tyrone have found a way to win them, and tonight they're perilously close to relegation, and with Kavanagh back I just think they might squeeze a result on their home turf.
Good, so difference of opinion in the studio as well, add to the enjoyment, but we'll hand you over to the ground and your commentary team of Cillian Burns and David McIntyre.
Good evening and welcome to Healy Park in Omagh for the clash of two of the country's heavyweights and a must-win game for both sides. Tyrone and Kerry have shared the last 7 All-Ireland titles between them, yet find themselves involved in a scrap to avoid the drop from Division 1 of the Alliance National League. Tyrone's return to winning ways against Cork at this venue 2 weeks ago proved short-lived, with last weekend's defeat to Galway leaving them languishing on just 2 points alongside Derry at the front of the table. As a result, Mickey Hart has performed major surgery on his lineup, 8 changes in all, one of those positional. Dermot Carlin, Joe McMahon and Cathal McCarran form a brand new full back line, while Hart continues his now weekly rotation of his goalkeeper. Tonight it's the vastly experienced Pascal McConnell who gets the nod. The half-back line in midfield have been left untouched, with another 4 changes made up front. Much will be expected of one Sean Kavanagh. He makes his first start of the season at centre forward. He's flanked by Kyle Coney and Peter Hart, and Owen Mulligan is back in a corner forward. The Cookstown man comes in for Jason McAnulla. Kerry also fell to Connacht opposition last Sunday, with Mayo edging their encounter in Tralee. The Kingdom 2 points better off than their host tonight, although defeat this evening would suck them right into the battle for survival. Jack O'Connor makes 4 changes of his own. Killian Young returns to the side at left half back, and the only switch to the defence. He also captains the side. Seamus Scanlon is back at midfield, allowing David Moran to move into the wing forward position, while Donncha Walsh gets the opportunity to deliver on the other wing. However, the key change to the attack is the return of Kieran Donaghy at full forward. He'll be looking to work in tandem with Colin Cooper against a Tyrone defence that are leaking over 17 points per game at the moment. Cillian Burns, Mickey Hart, he had been hopeful that the win over Cork 2 weeks ago at this venue would kickstart their season, but it didn't quite pan out that way.
Yeah, I suppose if anyone was watching that match, it was all about pure survival. I think goals won that game really, and overall Cork seemed like the better side and the more consistent side. They've yet to get that kind of consistent bit of football going this season. Definitely, look, whichever team loses tonight, there's going to be a very nervy last round of the league. Just going to hold up for a minute.
Sung tonight by Donna Taggart from the Omagh St. Denis Club here in Tyrone's capital town. Donna was the runner-up in the score Shincha Aroniuk Ainer in 2010, so another fine performance from her. Will it be backed up by a fine performance from Tyrone tonight? Just 1 win from 5 Alliance National Football League Division 1 ties so far. Tonight's referee is Pádraig Hughes from just over the border in Armagh. He'll be hopefully won't have too much to worry about disciplinary wise. These two teams have had a couple of niggling encounters over the few seasons, and Cillian, we could see some fireworks tonight.
Yeah, just a couple of watch-outs there for a couple of key battles. I think Aidan O'Mahony's coming into a bit of form, and Sean Kavanagh obviously having his first start of the season, so let's look out for that battle. And again, in the full back line, it'll be interesting to see how Tyrone cope with a fairly potent full forward line.
And we're underway here in Healy Park. Colin Kavanagh with his paws on the ball for the first time. Martin Penrose dropping deep early on. It's a clever ball into Mulligan. And Peter Hart still with possession there over on the left-hand side. And Sean Kavanagh making his first start of the season tonight. He's had many enjoyable days and memorable ones against the green and gold of the Kingdom. It's Donncha Walsh for Kerry. Infield to his captain tonight, Killian Young. And some space over this side now for Seamus Scanlon, the Curl man. And David Moore and Declan O'Sullivan just slightly getting their wires crossed there, but the referee has penalised Tyrone. And Declan O'Sullivan looked to take it quickly initially. And it's Kieran Donaghy making himself available in the space, and he just got there behind the defender. Decent sized crowd here in Healy Park, as it always is whenever these two sides meet. They've met 11 times over the last 10 years. 6 wins for Tyrone, 3 for Kerry, and 2 of those encounters ending in draws. Of course, the stat that won't please Kerry fans so much is the fact that of the 3 championship encounters over the last decade, all 3 have gone to the Tyrone men. It's Dermot Carlin for Tyrone. And he's been trailed by David Moran. A lot of space now for Davy Hart. And Tyrone looking for a good start here tonight. A long ball in from Cassidy. And Brendan Keeley came to meet it in the Kerry goal, and that will be an early confidence booster for him. Killian Young and Tom O'Sullivan combining on the left-hand side tonight. And Mark O'Shea had been forced over the touchline by Martin Penrose.
Yeah,
and at the end he's penalised for overcarrying.
Big pressure there from the Tyrone forwards on Mark. He really had nowhere to go and get it's a fairly tentative start so far. It was good.
It's an early ball into Tommy McGuigan. He held it well. It's been laid back to Cassidy. Nothing too difficult for Keeley to encounter again. And Tyrone being stripped of possession, and they found themselves in a good position there, and here come Kerry. Scanlon dictating affairs in midfield. A long ball in towards Donaghy, diagonal ball just the way he likes it. He gets turned back to Donncha Walsh, through on goal, and Donncha Walsh opts to put the ball over the bar.
That was a great little score there by Donncha Walsh, and as I said to you earlier, I think that the full back line is going to be a vulnerable area here today. You saw Donaghy, he's always going to create some difficulties, and as long as there's people feeding off him, he's got the basketball hands to pass it into the right areas. That'll be a great little touch there from Donncha, because Donncha's obviously been off with injury with a bad hamstring tear, and he's just about the right time coming back there. Jack was very anxious that he played today, because he's a great man under the brakes.
It's picked up the scraps there by Sean Kavanagh. Great to see him back fully fit, and looking forward to a long season for Tyrone. A chase on for Martin Penrose. He gets there. Tom O'Sullivan with him for company. And Mulligan making himself free again. Back to Tommy McGuigan. And Tommy won't be impressed with that effort. Aidan O'Mahony just skips past the challenge of Kavanagh there, and it allows Killian Young to come forward. And already plenty of pace and zest to this game. And David Moore looked like he was fouled there. And Poor accused the referee. Says that was the case. Kerry enjoying the first couple of minutes here.
And it's interesting to see David Moore in there is playing quite close to the goal line there. Normally he's sauntering around the midfield area and trying to pick up breaks there, but it seems that Declan is taking that role on. Of course, Declan covers a lot of blades of grass in the pitch normally, but he seems to be coming deep for the ball, and yeah, so far it's quite an open game.
So Colin Cooper trots over for his first attempt at a free this evening. It's a long way out, and it's probably not the best side for the left footer. He looks to bend it back in right to left. In 3 appearances so far in the league, he's already plundered 116, 4 of which have been from play. That's the first wide of the evening for the Kerry men.
You had the right idea there outside of the left. Usually it's a little bit difficult conditions here this evening. We walked the pitch, David, a little earlier, and it's quite soft underfoot, so there's going to be a lot of handling difficulties, I'd say, today.
Yes, we had a heavy shower of rain just around 20 minutes before throw-in. It certainly changed the conditions up a little. Davy Hart with acres of space on this right-hand side. The diagonal ball towards Owen Mulligan. It's taken well. Sells the dummy. And Porrig Reedy refused to let him out of his sight. And that's good work there from the Scartaglin man.
That's a very interesting one, David, actually, because Michael Curley, the head of the referees committee, was only talking about how they're going to be really looking at that, where the forward is keeping the hand in the defender, and they're going to be looking out for that in matches to come.
Well, Brendan Keeley put his defenders under real pressure there with that kick out, ill-advised. Here comes Sean Kavanagh for Tyrone. And that's the first score of the evening for the Red Hand County, and it's that man making his first start of the year, Sean Kavanagh.
Yeah, Sean Kavanagh there getting a nice start. I think Seamus Scanlon just lost his footing at the last minute, and as you can see now, Sean Kavanagh has taken a pivotal role at midfield. So it's him up against the all-star Seamus Scanlon from last year.
Yeah, these two sides haven't met since the National League fixture here in February of last year, which Kerry won by 3 points here in Healy Park. Scanlon down towards David Moran. Good close control there from the Cairns O'Reilly man. Into Colm Cooper, not quite sure if that pass was intended, but it worked out. Oh, that's clever football from the Gooch, in towards Declan O'Sullivan. And the hand pass rule still, despite the fact that we're in round 6 of the National League, still catching the players out.
Yeah, they had a great opportunity there, really. Declan had rounded his man, but unfortunately he got caught for the hand pass, and the Colm Gooch Cooper is going to be a real threat here. I mean, in the last 3 years, I think Tyrone and Kerry have played about 7 times, and the Gooch is a phenomenal score of about 423, so he'll be definitely a danger man, and he'll be well marked and marshalled by the Tyrone defenders.
Joe McMahon looking to get away from the clutches of Kieran Donaghy. Tyrone happy to play their way out of trouble, and they've just about done so. It's there for Ryan McManaman. Conor Gormley. McManaman staying up with the attack, and now some space for Colm Kavanagh. That looked like a high enough challenge there from Donegal Walsh, but Kavanagh took it and continues. Peter Hart looking to give Mark O'Shea the run around. In the end, the jersey was tugged. And it'll be Tommy McGuigan that will come out for the right-footed kick. 113 in the league so far. Of course, he was the man that got that all-important goal in the 2008 All-Ireland final against the Kerry men. Incidentally, in the 3 times the Kerry have met Tyrone, their last 3 championship meetings all went the way of Tyrone, but since then Kerry have gone on to win the All-Ireland. Each time they've played the last 3 league fixtures against the Tyrone men. Will 2010 follow a similar pattern? Looking for the 2 in a row, the Kingdom and Tyrone take the lead for the first time this evening. Brendan Keeley, the Kilcummin man, looks to be the number 1 now in terms of the goalkeeping position for Jack O'Connor after Ger Reedy left the panel earlier this month. Penrose had 2 men to find in there, just about finds Kyle Coney back in the team tonight, but fouled on the ground by Coney.
Yeah, it was straight off the ground there. I think it was actually Peter Hart in the end who picked it off the ground. I think it's horses for courses here tonight. There's a lot of man-to-man marking, and then lads are not sticking to their original positions. You've got Killian Young there who's marking Martin Penrose, who's obviously a man that likes to go out the pitch.
David Moran is moving all across the half-forward line. He pops up on the right this time. It was Donegal Walsh and Davy Hart looking to break it down. It fell to McManaman. McManaman dispossessed, as was Declan O'Sullivan. And Tyrone win the free out. And it's Declan O'Sullivan that the referee, Paul Hughes, is calling in for just a little bit of a warning. Or will we see the first card of the evening? It is in fact a yellow card for Declan O'Sullivan. He'll have to watch himself for the remainder of this game. Pascal McConnell and Joe McMahon combining at the back. And Declan O'Sullivan, no sooner has he picked up the yellow card, Well, that was a late challenge on McMahon, so Davy Hart is a free from that advanced position. And it's well broken down to Tommy McGuigan, and the Ardbow man gets his second of the evening. Tommy McGuigan making a very good start.
Yeah, that was a nice little start, and as we can see, Aidan Cassidy is playing in the full forward line there. He's been impressive as an attacking midfielder, and they're using him now at full forward. And Tommy Griffin has his hands full there today, and he's well able to pat the ball down to Tommy McGuigan. So that's going to be an interesting test for the rest of this game.
Colin Kavanagh just narrowly failed to make the first mark of the evening. Here comes his midfield partner, Aidan Cassidy, bursting through the middle. He's been tracked there by Pádraig Greedy. And in the end, he overcarries. That was a very promising position for Cassidy, who's really impressed in the league so far. 4 points as Cassidy came through. His midfield partner, Kavanagh, almost getting towards the Kerry penalty area. And Kavanagh got that wonder goal against Cork in Tyrone's only win of the league so far 2 weeks ago. And really, defence is on top so far, Cillian, and the referee seems to be erring on the side of the defenders so far.
Again, I think it's a directive coming down from the referees committee earlier this week. He announced in public, Mick Curley, about this, and they're not really going to take this forward like that. Yeah, he was dragging him down a bit there, so I think going to watch out for that in this game.
It's Peter Hart again, infield to Ricey McMenamin, and now comes Sean Kavanagh. Kavanagh just about gets turned before the challenge comes in from Aidan O'Mahony. Sean Kavanagh for Tyrone, and that's another marvellous score there from Sean Kavanagh.
Yeah, Sean Kavanagh, he's really looking on form there. He showed his power and shrugged off Aidan O'Mahony and was able to compose himself to pop it over the bar, and he's really already showing himself a big presence here tonight. And you know, they're 4 points to 1 up after 12 or 13 minutes, and Kerry need to go and up their game. I mean, there's leaders by Tyrone in every sector of the pitch, and I think Jack O'Connor is looking for those leaders to emerge, you know, so he can look at a championship winning team for this season. A lot of the new emerging players are going to have to step up to the mark.
There's some major holes in this Kerry team to be filled, given the departure of so many big names in the close season. Here's Declan O'Sullivan for the Kingdom. Huge amount of space there for David Moore, and no one marking him. And David Moran takes it, puts it over the bar, and it's a second of the night for Kerry.
Well, where was the marking there with Dermot Carlin? Seemed to come to the man, a bit of ball watching, and David Moran had a very easy puck over the bar there.
Yeah, David Moran had 4 appearances as a substitute in last year's championship. He'll be desperate to impose himself on the starting 15 this year, particularly the absence of the likes of Ty Kennelly. No Darragh O'Shea, of course, either. And as Cillian was saying, opportunities for some of last year's fringe players to really make a name for themselves in 2010. Here is one such big name. It's Conor Gormley for Tyrone. And there was a big challenge on Gormley just as he released control of the ball there. The referee waves play on. It's with Seamus Scanlon. Conor Gormley still down. Kieran Donaghy has it. Tries to get turned against Joe McMahon, and the pressure tells. It straight popped up to Dermot Carlin for Tyrone. Conor Gormley's up and he's looking to join in this attack, but the ball breaks now for Donncha Walsh. Shadowed by Penrose. And Tyrone's half forwards and full forward line working so hard at the moment. It's Cillian Young for Kerry, and again runs into trouble. Perhaps a little fortunate there to get the decision from the referee.
Yeah, if you saw in the last run of play there, Kieran Donaghy's being marked there. When he went down on the ball, there was 3 Tyrone players around him. They're finding it hard to get it out of defence here. I mean, this game is a little bit scrappy. It's a bit at 6s and 7s. I think Kerry have definitely yet to ignite in this game.
And perhaps Cillian Young saying a little bit too much there to the referee after that free was earned. fact, it was Mark O'Shea with a yellow card now. 29-year-old and Gaeltacht man. It's the second card shown tonight. Declan O'Sullivan with the first. Here is O'Sullivan. Looks for Donaghy. And again, Donaghy has a man behind and in front. So difficult for him. Nicely handed off by Kyle Coney to Sean Kavanagh. His opposite number, O'Sullivan, making the challenge. And here's Davy Hart. Kavanagh, this time Cullum, shaking off the challenge there from the Kerry man. Down to Davy Hart, who's up against Aidan O'Mahony. Tom O'Sullivan, there's a challenge coming in from Mulligan. He rides it well. And the flow of the game just been taken out over the last few minutes. We're hearing the referees whistle quite a lot. And it's Killian Young now attacking for Kerry. David Moran really showing himself well tonight. A long one in towards Donaghy again. And this time he did evade the challenge of McMahon but couldn't collect it.
I have to say Joe McMahon is doing quite well there. I'm sure Mickey Hart was quite anxious when Justin McMahon cried off, but Joe's doing a great job there and shows his versatility after playing wing forward only last week.
It was a wonderful pass out from Pascal McConnell there, covering a full 50 yards. And it sets Tyrone on the attack. That was a big challenge for Mark O'Shea in the air for Kerry. And another whistle from the referee. Here come Kerry. Look at Colm Cooper playing around halfway. And his distribution second to none in towards Kieran O'Leary for Kerry. And the challenge there from Sean Kavanagh, just dispossessing or putting pressure on Declan O'Sullivan. Martin Penrose also playing such a deep role this evening for much of the opening 17 and a half minutes. Here's Colm Kavanagh for Tyrone. And he's looking for options up front, and Kerry seem to have all the space closed down. Seamus Scanlon acting as an extra full back. And Kieran Donaghy, well, the referee says he plucked that straight off the ground, and the position he finds himself in, it's another opportunity for the Tyrone men.
Oh, that was just so obvious there by Kieran Donaghy. That was a really juvenile mistake by him, and he's given Tyrone another opportunity. But look how far out he is from the attacking goals. I mean, it's a really unorthodox style of football that Tyrone are playing, and always Kerry, I think at the beginning of these games, they're constantly looking at and scratching their heads until they get settled into what role they're playing. And yeah.
Well, Tommy McGuigan on the end of that attack, looking to get his third of the night. All that he's left with is a first wide of the evening for Tyrone. So double scores here in Healy Park, 18 minutes in.
As I was saying there, I think it's taken a while for Kerry to get to grips with the positioning. If you look down across the field, there's a lot of positional changes from the word go, and but I think Kerry are adapting to it a little bit better now, and it's taken some time for them to settle down into it, but they really need to get a couple of scores on the board, and need to see Kieran O'Leary and Colm Cooper getting into the game a bit more.
Kieran Donaghy penalised again there. He's playing in midfield at the moment, and Tyrone are coming once again. It's great work by Tyrone. Sean Kavanagh parried brilliantly by Brendan Keeley. The Kilcummin man really is a top-class shot stopper. And Kerry just about getting the ball away, scrambling it clear now. It's Mark O'Shea, and that was the first real sight on goal we've had this evening for Tyrone. Donncha Walsh had one at the other end, and it's Declan O'Sullivan for Kerry. And well, that miss from Sean Kavanagh shake Kerry into life. It's well taken there by Kieran O'Leary. Looks for Donncha Walsh, and Donncha Walsh will be extremely disappointed with that effort.
Oh, that was a terrible miss there. He had plenty of time. There was no one marking him, and it was a simple tap over the bar, but he knows it. You can see it on his face there. I mean, that was one of the easiest scores you're going to get in a game like this. But look at that for a save from Brendan Keeley. He's really stamping his name on that #1 jersey. And a great follow-up block there by Tommy Griffin. You know, he just let Sean Kavanagh got the break, but he followed up there with a great block, Tommy Griffin. So maybe this will ignite Kerry now and get this game going.
Davy Hart just drops that first time around. Look for support, gets it from Gormley up to Colm Kavanagh. Tyrone putting together some lovely passages of play so far. It's Cassidy, Davy Hart again, and now it's Owen Mulligan. And Penrose looks with a quick run of Tommy McGuigan, looks to turn onto the left foot and finds Kyle Coney, and that's cleverly done by Coney, just 19 years old. What a prospect.
Yeah, Kyle Coney is the great white hope, I think, for them. You know, he spent very little time over in Australia. I think 6 or 7 weeks he ended up spending over there, so he obviously reversed his decision about his rookie contract, and it's all the better for Tyrone, for the management and supporters, and showed some quick feet there and popped it over the bar. I think left and right he's quite accurate. So already there's a quick change being made. Kieran O'Leary, unfortunately, been playing well the last couple of league games, but he didn't really get into this one, and now we'll see the last year's captain Darren O'Sullivan getting his opportunity.
Darren O'Sullivan, just 21 minutes in, the change been made by Jack O'Connor. He obviously saw something that needed to be changed here. It's Seamus Scallon for Kerry, and some real pace been brought into the attack now in the guise of O'Sullivan. David Moran, he's had a good start, and it's the first touch for O'Sullivan now. Will he make a difference early? There's that pace we spoke about, looking to get past Ryan McMenamin. And Darren O'Sullivan announces himself to the field with his first touch.
Yeah, and I'm hugely impressed there. It was a high ball in. David Moran kept his eye on the ball and passed it out to Darren. What a great start for Darren O'Sullivan, because he didn't have a great game really against Mayo last Sunday. He got his opportunity, but that was a great shot. Showed his speed, knew there was no one else in front of him. He knew he just had one man to beat, and I think he's going to give enough of it there to McMenamin this evening.
O'Sullivan has shown glimpses of his form so far this season. He did get 1-1 in the win over Galway, but didn't reach his usual high standards last weekend. It's Colm Kavanagh for Tyrone.
A little overzealous by Darren. I think he's just on the pitch and trying to make his mark, and he gave poor old Colm Kavanagh got enough of it there, so that's going to be definitely a yellow for him.
Yeah, Darren O'Sullivan really in the thick of it now since his introduction, and that'll be the third Kerry man so far to receive a yellow card from Pádraig Hughes, the man in the middle. So a point and a booking for Darren O'Sullivan. 2 points between the teams. It's Ricey McMenamin with the free. And much of what Tyrone are doing well tonight, going through Sean Kavanagh. Muggsy opted to go for it, left it for Penrose. Penrose skips inside his man, and he did everything right up until the shot at goal. And in fact, just about goes for a wide and not quite a throw-in. Their sideline ball, it's now going to be a goal kick for Brendan Keeley. And I suppose chances, they've had 2 wides each, Killian, and both sides, possession-wise, also of equal measure. It's a fairly end-to-end game at the moment.
Yeah, but that's been the case. An interesting statistic was that there's actually over aggregate scores over the 7 meetings in the last 3 years. There's only 1 goal, would you believe, between them. It's 684 to 784. It's always really tight games. Jack O'Connor and Eamon are a little bit in concentration mode at the moment. I think they'll be happy enough, though. They're keeping in touch with Tyrone, and happy enough for proceedings.
Yeah, so they wasted no time in changing when they thought the first half was getting away from them. It's Donncha Walsh now. Over to Anthony Marr. We've seen very little of him so far. We've seen plenty of Darren O'Sullivan, and that's a very clever ball into space that's being fielded now by David Moran. That's a wild attempt from Moran there.
Yeah, that was really wild. He was ill-advised to go for the chance there. I think he just literally went and had a go at it, but should have looked up and seen was there any other opportunities. But I'm really glad to see David Moran there. He's been really trying to stamp his name, and I think a lot of the Kerry managers are scratching their heads as to where he fits into the setup, you know, and fills those gaps from last season.
Declan O'Sullivan back to Seamus Scanlon for Kerry. In towards Colm Cooper again. I think that's just Cooper's second touch tonight. And he's won the free. And that's a beautiful ball, just doesn't quite make it to Declan O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan would have been almost through on goal had that gone all the way. And McConnell can clear it now to Aidan Cassidy. Some room out now on the right hand side for Conor Gormley. The Carrickmore man has recovered from that early hit he shipped. Kyle Coney links up well now with Colm Kavanagh. And Owen Mulligan the target. And here comes Keeley. And that was asking a little too much of the Cookstown man. Easily dealt with by the Kerry rearguard, but it's given straight to Dermot Carlin. It's a quick transfer to Davy Hart, back to Martin Penrose, and this is good play from Tyrone. And Carlin's continued up there. It's Martin Penrose and a lot of Kerry men surrounding them. And before Owen Mulligan gets to put the ball over the bar, which he does, he's penalised, or the pass for Penrose. Another hand pass penalised by Porrick Hughes.
Yeah, Kerry are being very tight there in the defence. It's a really crowded area and not much ability to manoeuvre that ball. So
Donncha Walsh accepts it there from David Moran. Here comes Killian Young bursting forward. And the first instinct of Moran was to look for Donaghy. He finds him well. Anthony Marr was the target there. And Tyrone certainly have the numerical advantage at the back there at the moment. Kieran Donaghy, you'll have to watch himself. Already 3 Kerry men with yellow cards. Could this be a 4th?
yeah, I think the referee knows there that there was no ill intention by Donaghy. I think he slipped into it. We might get an opportunity to see in the replay, but I think unfortunately he's still going to maybe get the yellow card for that one. So yeah, there's a good few yellow cards being dished out there already, so Kerry are going to have to watch out.
Yes, with every yellow that we see, the likelihood that we won't finish the game with the full quota increases.
Fairly innocuous, I think, really. Oh well, no, it was a bit high. It was a bit high, but Donaghy's a big man.
Sean Kavanagh for Tyrone in towards Tommy McGuigan. And it's broken well by the Kerry defence. And here comes Killian Young now. Seamus Scanlon. Mark O'Shea over the head of Anthony Marr there, and he's in a foot race with Peter Hart, which he loses out. And now it's Davy Hart for Tyrone. And Sean Kavanagh really the fulcrum of many things at the moment. Martin Penrose likewise linking midfield and the forward line very often this evening into Mulligan. Sells the dummy. The space opens up for Mulligan. And that's another score, his 6th of the league for Owen Mulligan.
Now, Owen Mulligan has taken a while to get into this game. Padraig Reedy's been marshing him quite well, but I think it's the ball that's been gone into him hasn't been great either. But when he gets his chance, Padraig Reedy lost his footing. He settled himself, and there's no way that man will miss from that distance.
He's looked very sharp coming into the Tyrone setup this year after collecting an All-Ireland Club Intermediate medal with Cookstown. And he's been beset by injuries for so long. We could see the best of him this year. Davy Hart. It was a clever ball to Aidan Cassidy. He rolled the challenge well into Kavanagh. And you'd expect Sean Kavanagh to deliver a little more from so close in.
Hey, Aidan Cassidy back up there at full forward. He was collecting a ball from Pascal McConnell only about 4 minutes ago. He's a bit of a nightmare for us commentators to follow the...
So often very little shape to a Mickey Hart Tyrone team. Each and every one of the players capable of popping up in any position on the field. And it's an approach that has served them so well over the last 7 or 8 years. Aidan O'Mahony in towards Darren O'Sullivan. And O'Mahony gets the return. Down towards David Moran. He's up against Ryan McMenamin. And Conor Gormley goes in as well, but Donaghy shows well this time. O'Sullivan and Cooper linking up. Donncha Walsh back to Anthony Marr. And this time it's Walsh who accepts the responsibility for shooting, and he'll be thankful that he did.
Yeah, that was good play there. I mean, David Moore got it. It was a nice tap over for Donncha, and that'll restore his confidence after missing that easy punt over the bar a little earlier. But David Moore held the ball up there, and it looks like Ryan McManaman now has taken over the duties of marking him. Dermot Carlin was marking him a little earlier on because David Moore seemed to be getting on the ball an awful lot. So that change has been made now. So we'll see how Ryan McManaman gets on. There we have, of course, Dooher and Stephen O'Neill, and God, they're two guys that have yet to come back to the panel. Dooher in particular is on an extended break, and Stephen O'Neill looks like he's set to maybe re-emerge in the next game.
Yeah, Stephen O'Neill, they hope, will be back for the visit of Dublin to Healy Park in a couple of weeks' time, the final round of the National Football League. And how dearly Tyrone would like to have moved on to 4 points, increasing their chances of survival in the top flight. And a talking to now for Colin McCarran, the Dromore man.
Yeah, Colin McCarran is a good man marker, and he's done very well on Colin Gooch Cooper so far this evening. And I saw him, I was quite impressed with him against Daniel Goulding down against Cork there a couple of weeks back as well. And there was definite push in the back.
Kerry have taken that free quickly in towards Kieran Donaghy, and it's basketball style for Kieran Donaghy. He's well able for it, and the ball just broke off the crossbar. There was Donaghy, no more than 2 yards out. No doubt he was looking to put that beneath the crossbar, Killian. It was a great goal opportunity.
Yeah, he was trying to dunk it down underneath the bar. Unfortunately, he just didn't have enough space between him and the goals, but great little ball in there from David Moore, and he knew exactly what he was doing.
Well, Donaghy's teammates at the Tralee Tigers will have been plenty proud of that passage of play, and Kerry have moved to within a single point of Tyrone, approaching the last few minutes of this opening period. It's the first mark of the day taken by Seamus Scanlon. Looks for Cooper, and Kerry really starting to move the ball now. David Moran running off the shoulder of Darren O'Sullivan. That's a fantastic score from David Moran, his second of the night.
That's a wonderful bit of movement there. If we look back, and it was a great catch by Seamus, and played it into the Gooch, and a lovely little pass away to the left, Darren O'Sullivan, and a great kick with his left leg, David Moran over the bar. He's really hugely impressive here today, and he's been very influential and clicking well with the forward line, which he's yet to really do in this league campaign.
Yeah, that Colin Cooper getting play moving very quickly for that goal opportunity for Kieran Donaghy, and it really caught the Tyrone defenders unaware. Pascal McConnell with the kick out for Tyrone, who really have been on the back foot now for the last 5 or 10 minutes, and Kerry very much back in this first half. Declan O'Sullivan looks long. It's Colin Cooper under the dropping ball, and he opted to leave it cleverly so. Beats Colin McCarran. It's Colin Cooper, difficult angle. Oh, beautiful skill there from the Gooch.
Oh yeah, he's really getting into this game now, and he's giving Colin McCarran enough of it. He's coming to grips with it. He gave him a little, maybe a slight little nudge, and that's it. Let the ball do the work. Got a bit of space. And the difficult thing there was to try for the defender to keep goal side of the Gooch, and the Gooch knew that. He had that half step ahead of him and kept his composure and popped it over with the right. That's a great score under pressure.
Kick out now for Pascal McConnell for Tyrone. Kerry hitting the front for just the second time this evening. They did open the scoring. And Darren O'Sullivan pleading his case there.
I think Jack O'Connor will be a little bit happier now heading into the final couple of minutes of this half. I think Kerry have gotten a little bit more on top, and they've definitely come to grips with the game and getting into their rhythm.
Well, Kerry have kicked the last 4 scores so far this evening. They were trailing by 3. It's Peter Hart for Tyrone. And the space been closed down by Mark O'Shea, and he finds support there from Kavanagh. It's a long range effort from Sean Kavanagh. He's already kicked 2 tonight, and that won't be a third. And one well-known commentator down in the Kingdom, Killian, last weekend said that second half performance against Mayo was as bad a performance as he'd seen from a Kerry side for a long time. Well, perhaps this is Jack O'Connor's answer to that.
Yeah, I was there myself, particular in the second half there. The amount of ball that they lost going into the tackle was just unbelievable. I know it's a trait of John O'Mahony's Mayo, but it was really terrible to watch, and I think he definitely would have had a word with them. But then again, they were quite lethargic. There was a lot of tough training going on. I believe they had a full 50-minute game on the Wednesday night, or Thursday night rather, before that game. So I was talking to a couple of the lads before the game. They said they've had a good break now since Wednesday to freshen up and get ready for this match.
We'll have 1 minute additional time at the end of this first half, and will Kerry looking to extend their advantage to 2. A long ball down towards David Moran, who's seen so much of the ball tonight, and again David Moran just chooses to ignore the support he had inside him and shooting from way out.
Yeah, I think David's a young guy. He's learning the trade there up in the forward line, and I think that's the second one now. He's just literally turned around and looked for the post, and in actual fact Kieran Donaghy was quite available that time, so he's going to have to look up, and I think they'll have a word with him at half time about that part of his game.
Colin McCarran Crossfield for Tyrone, and Martin Penrose, well, he's popped up everywhere tonight, playing the Brian Dewar role. Brian McManaman. And it's out to Peter Hart for Tyrone again, shooting to go long, and David Moran was inaccurate, and so was Peter Hart. Two very experienced sides, Killian. We wouldn't normally associate such wayward shooting with them.
Yeah, I have to say Tyrone have pretty much fallen asleep in the last 10 minutes, and it's been all Kerry, and Mickey Hart won't be happy with this at all. I mean, they had a decent start and they were fighting for every ball, but really they've fallen asleep, and I think he's going to have a few harsh words with them. Do they realise that at the end of the day the trap door is very close down to Division 2, and I don't think they like the green and gold jersey to send in that direction.
Well, the additional 1 minute has expired, so we're just waiting for the ball to be put out of play before Padraig Hughes brings an end to the first half. And Tyrone looking to gain parity before they enter the dressing room. And it's well taken there by Declan O'Sullivan, scavenging for that on the ground. And play just being held up by another injury to Conor Gormley. And Killian, heading in at half-time, who'll be the happier of the two managers?
You'd have to say that Jack Connor's management team are going to be quite happy with the last 15 minutes of this game, really. It's been all Kerry. There we have the half-time score. I think Mickey Hart and his team are going to be looking at any kind of changes that they can make to this.
Well, there is the half-time whistle at Healy Park in Omagh.
Never miss an upcoming GAA football or hurling match again in this year's Allianz GAA Leagues. Simply free text GAA to 50123 and download fixtures and results for free. That's GAA to 50123.
Time here in Healy Park in Omagh, and it's Kerry who take the slimmest of advantages into the dressing room at the break. They're leading by a point. 2 scores from Donegal Walsh, 2 from David Moran, with 5 of Kerry's 6 forwards already on the score sheet. Both sides desperate for the points. At the break, it's Kerry 7 points, Tyrone 6 points.
So Tyrone dominating the first half hour and looking like they were cruising, but Kieran Donaghy's slam dunk kickstarts a Kerry comeback and they lead by a point. Match, so no reason not to take advantage of that Allianz offer. Now, Paul, before we go back there, have Tyrone left this game behind them already? Because psychologically they bust a gut for half an hour and you know, did some good stuff, and they find themselves a point down from a Kerry team that just got lazy all the way through and then decided to rattle off a few points in the last 5 minutes of the first half. Yeah, you never say Tyrone have given it away at this stage, because they will regroup at half-time. The half-time came at the best possible time for them. You know, Kerry dominant the last 5 or 7 minutes. But I think they need to sort out their midfield, because certainly Seamus Scanlon got on top in the last few minutes, and that gave them the forward momentum, Kerry to score 4 points in 3 minutes in the end. They need to sort that out as well, and I think they'll have enough energy though to make this a really competitive game right to the end. I don't think they're out of it by any means, you know. Kerry can do that to any team, score 3 or 4 in a short space of time. You don't think, Senan, that Tyrone might have just expended a little bit too much energy in the first half?
Yeah, they looked exhausted late on that half, and that's where the openings came for Kerry in the full forward line. But look there, you know, famous quote, Tyrone don't do panic. We're going to get an answer now. Kerry have scored the last 4 points in the first half. They've had a chance to regroup.
So you're sticking to your pre-match prediction?
Yeah, I'll stick with it anyway. Paul is smiling here, he's expecting a Tyrone win.
Paul is the Tyrone man. Yeah, okay, well there's a point in it. Fascinating to see what transpires in the second half. Just again, I mean, to remind you of the context for this, Tyrone lose this one and it's trapdoor time. Let's rejoin your match commentary team of Killian Burns and David McIntyre.
Yeah, thanks, Dara. The Kerry team back out on the field here at Healy Park. We're just waiting for the hosts to reappear. No changes made by Jack O'Connor at the break. He did obviously make that one change early in the second half. Just 20 minutes in, Darren O'Sullivan came onto the field for Kieran O'Leary, made an instant impact, scoring a point and also collecting a yellow card. Killian, we know the book that Jack O'Connor wrote, well, it's old news at this stage, but he did say in that book that losing to Tyrone is worse than losing to almost anybody else, and Kerry always seem to do well in the league apparently.
Yeah, he'll never admit that to your face now, even though it's in black and white in the book.
And here come the Tyrone team, trailing by a point after a spell at the end of the first period, which really got Kerry onto the front foot, scoring 4 points in just 4.5 minutes. 2 for David Moran, 2 for Donegal Walsh. And the importance of the 2 points on offer here at full time cannot be underestimated. Both sides scrapping for their Division 1 lives.
Yeah,
One change for Tyrone.
Yeah, Philip Jordan there is in.
It's a first appearance of the season for Philip Jordan. A 3-time All-Star, the experience and the quality that he brings into the field side. Well, Mickey Hart will be looking for an instant impact from him as well as they look to get just their second victory of the league campaign. Referee Porrick Hughes gets play back underway. It's there for Seamus Scallon, straight down to David Moran. Into Kieran Donaghy from Darren O'Sullivan, and spilled there by the big man. And it's an opportunity for Joe McMahon to get forward. He hasn't had too many chances to do that. And there we see confirmation of that change. Ryan McMenamin, tonight's captain, the man to make way. And a difficult night for Philip Jordan. Killian, Tyrone trailing by a point. It's his first appearance of the season, and a difficult assignment for your first time back.
Yeah, bad wide there. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's going to be a difficult one for Philip. I mean, he had to ring in some changes though, so he's going to have to make some kind of an impact. And it was a bad wide there from Martin Penrose, but it was interesting to see Martin's back in the conventional role of full forward, and Tommy Griffin is on him there. Tommy won a great ball, but unfortunately went down it and forgot to put the boot under it. And well,
it's a 6th wide of the evening for Tyrone. Straight down into the arms of Anthony Marr from that kick out. It was a mark well taken by Kerry. Darren O'Sullivan for the Kingdom. And he's well shackled by Dermot Carlin. And O'Sullivan dispossessed, pushed in the back, says the referee. Dermot Carlin showing exactly what it takes to be a cornerback on a Tyrone senior football team. Joined to his man at the hip. And it's broken well for Tyrone now. That's a big shoulder given by Colm Kavanagh, but he's spilled possession. And look at the hunger there from Declan O'Sullivan to try and win this ball back for Kerry. And their persistence pays off. It's Peter Hart who turns over possession. David Moran gets the run on Philip Jordan. And a bit of a height differential there. Will Moran look to exploit that over the next 35 minutes or so? Colm Cooper, and a slip from Joe McMahon gives Donaghy some space, and clearly the jersey of Colm Cooper being held there, and an early opportunity for him to double Kerry's advantage.
yeah, Colin McCarn is going to have to be very careful there. That was a bad pull of the jersey, and yeah, Donaghy lost his man there, lost Joe McMahon, and it was definitely an opportunity, and it's going to be a handy one. Yeah, that's 2 now, and he's off. So this is really going to put the cat among the pigeons. This is not what Tyrone wanted. They wanted to get a big impact on this game. They hadn't been performing the last 10 minutes of the game, and now they're down to 14 men.
Well, we did say earlier in the first half that the amount of yellow cards been racked up on both sides would ultimately lead to somebody finishing the game a man or two down. Well, it's Tyrone who draw first blood on that particular stat. Colm McCarran walks, and probably a very ill-judged challenge there on Colin Cooper, pulling the jersey right in front of the referee. It's a second yellow card for him. It's a second point for Colin Cooper, and Kerry lead by 2.
Yeah, Colin McCarran, he shouldn't be shaking his head there. I mean, that was very it was obvious what was going to happen. You pull the jersey, you get a yellow card. He knew what he was on. He had to be aware of that, and I don't think Mickey Hart is going to be too happy with him when he gets over just to the line there. He shook his head, not at all happy with Colin McCarran getting his chance there at cornerback, and he's really blown it.
Well, it'll be interesting to hear exactly what Mickey Hart had to say to McCarran as they passed each other there on the touchline. And Tyrone's task made all that more difficult. Desperate for a victory here tonight. It's Philip Jordan, and that's a poor pass from Jordan straight down the throat of Aidan O'Mahony. And so the space that Kerry are finding in their forward line towards the latter stages of the first half, well, there may well be more of that now. Tyrone could be forced into a reshuffle. Mark O'Shea, that was a heavy challenge that he took there. And the crowd looking for a free for Tyrone over on that far side. In the end, they get it from Kieran Donaghy. It's the second time that he's been penalised for picking it off the ground this evening. And suddenly a real surge in the atmosphere in Healy Park. Two sides that know each other so well. Declan O'Sullivan, he's working so hard in this second half, and he's got away from the challenge. The space opening up for Declan O'Sullivan. Will he opt to go for goal himself? He looks in field towards Colm Cooper. Declan O'Sullivan walks the ball into the back of the net. Harlem Globetrotter stuff from the Kerry men, Killian.
That was fantastic, and look, no more than he deserves. Declan Sullivan has been one of the hardest workers here on the pitch tonight, and he dispossessed him, took it upon himself, and there was only a goal really on his mind there. I mean, he knew that they had the overlap of players. A nice little pass, kept his composure. Gooch knew what was happening there, and an easy tap in for Declan O'Sullivan.
Well, what an absolutely nightmarish start for the second half for Tyrone. They were a point down at half time. They're now a man down, and they've conceded a further 1 goal and 1 point. And Kerry really bossing affairs at the moment. And it's Seamus Scanlon scavenging possession on the deck, and he does well to find Mark O'Shea. And huge gaping holes opening up on that left hand side. Here it's Darren O'Sullivan now. It's a nice pass in towards David Moran. Cooper makes the run off his shoulder. And David Moran, well, he's never too shy of going for the post. That's his 5th opportunity tonight. He's kicked 2, and he's had 2 wides. It's Sean Kavanagh. It's time for Tyrone's big men to step up here.
Look, we've seen it often in the past that when the teams are down to 14 men, that's when they really come to the fore. So let's see what Tyrone can do and see if there's a bit of spirit, because really they're fighting for their status in Division 1 right now.
Colm Kavanagh for Tyrone. And Pádraig Greedy all over Owen Mulligan. In fact, it was Tom O'Sullivan before the ball even got to Muggsy, and Kerry can break. Donny hit to David Moore and pulled out from the air very well. Back to Aidan O'Mahony. And Donny, he's continued his run. He won't quite make that one. And Kieran Donaghy, another one of those players on a yellow card. He may also need to keep his nose clean for the next half an hour.
And the referee has seen something here, Pádraig Hughes.
And is it Joe McMahon that he's speaking to? And it's a yellow card for Joe McMahon, and the referee been kept very busy. Here is McMahon. No Justin in the team tonight. McMahon forced to go back and fill in for his brother at fullback.
Oh, if this is another yellow, we're going to hit.
Now speaking with Declan O'Sullivan. Another pair in a yellow card. There's something going on over his shoulder also between Mark O'Shea and Conor Gormley. Play back underway, and just Pádraig Hughes really needs to keep a lid on things here.
Declan O'Sullivan is very lucky there. He could have got the yellow, and that would have been 2.
A brilliant run from Dermot Carlin. The pass not quite so brilliant. And it was Donncha Walsh trying to break free of the challengers. And if Colm Cooper can look up, there's just David Moran and Philip Jordan in the opposing half. And there is the ball into Moran. And he just had his heels clipped there by Jordan as the ball came in. And Tyrone need to make something happen, and quickly. It's Aidan Cassidy for Tyrone, out to Peter Hart. Long ball in over the top towards Tommy McGuigan, brilliantly met in the air by Tom O'Sullivan. Anywhere will do.
That was great safe defending there by Tom O'Sullivan. He kept his eye on the ball, and of course a danger man lurking as always was Owen Mulligan, but Tom has done quite well there tonight. I think he lost a bit of form, but you know, being a seasoned player, he takes a while to get up the gears.
Yeah, Tom O'Sullivan, years of experience, the Garda from Rathmore. A current All-Star. It's his 4th appearance of the season, and how welcome a return he made to the Kerry backline. It's a long way out for Kyle Coney. He's already got 1 score to his name tonight. He's had his problems with injury so far this season. Did start in the game against Derry in the opening night. That's not one of his best efforts, and it's well fielded by Seamus Scanlon for Kerry. Donncha Walsh hasn't too many options in front of him down this right-hand touchline. But Kerry keep their heads and work their way into space. And Aidan O'Mahony, a little lucky there, but he has been penalised for the challenge after he lost possession. Porrick Hughes calling another Kerry player to attention. It is O'Mahony. He lost the ball after the fist pass and perhaps just left the arm out there. It's another yellow, and this time for Aidan O'Mahony.
Well, Porrick Hughes is nothing if he's not consistent here tonight anyway. A lot of yellows going out there. Yeah, I think, yeah, he left the hands in his face, and look, he's going to get a yellow for that. I don't think there was too much in it, but just before that run of play, there was a great catch there by Seamus Scanlon to save a ball from the sideline. It was great to see Seamus stepping up to the plate. That was an old trait of the great Darragh O'Shea. So it's nice to see Seamus Scanlon do that, but that was a nice little tap over. I think Tyrone really, you know, they're staying just about in touch. They're 4 points behind at this stage.
Yeah, Tommy McGuigan with his third score of the evening. That's 116 for him in the league.
Yeah, look at this, a great bit of fielding. Seamus Scanlon, I mean, he's taking it on his end. He's one of the men that's certainly stepping up to the mark there tonight. And I have to say, his partner Anthony Marr isn't having the best of games, and we might maybe see the introduction of Micheál Quirk coming in before the end of this game.
It's Tommy Griffin. That's as far as out the field he's found himself tonight. Here is the aforementioned Anthony Marr. It doesn't go well for him again there. It's taken on by Peter Hart. A good early ball down towards Tommy McGuigan. And he saw the run being made by Kyle Coney there, but the pass didn't match the run. And it's Porrick Reedy for Kerry. And again, Kerry opting to just play their way out of trouble at the back. And Declan O'Sullivan, look how deep he's running at the moment, covering every blade of grass for the Kingdom.
Yeah, Declan really is the fulcrum of that forward line, you know.
And Mark O'Shea does see the run off his shoulder of Anthony Marr, and the space opening up for Kerry. As you would expect, they're a man up into David Moran. Well, that ball fired towards the face of Colm Cooper. And Tyrone can break again. It's Peter Hart once more, seeing a lot of possession. Down towards the 19-year-old Kyle Coney, a minor star from the All-Ireland team in 2008. Scanlon to Aidan O'Mahony.
I wouldn't be surprised now if I saw Tyrone make a couple of wholesale changes there. I think Tommy McGuigan has been very quiet, and Owen Mulligan hasn't been doing a whole pile either. Kerry are really on top of this game now, and if they don't watch it, they could really pull away from it, and be very surprised now if I didn't see Mickey Hart make a couple of changes.
Well, Darren O'Sullivan really showed a clean pair of heels to Colin Kavanagh there. In the end, Kavanagh's only option was to bring him down. And maybe he was a little bit lucky that he didn't see a yellow card himself. So Tyrone battling to fight their way into the game once again, trailing by 4. And Kavanagh protesting his innocence. The ball been brought forward by 10 yards. And Darren O'Sullivan really felt the force of that challenge. And Jack O'Connor is preparing his second change of the evening. And it's going to be David O'Callaghan, who started the last week. He was replaced in the side by Donncha Walsh tonight, and it does look like it will be Walsh that will make way. It is Donncha Walsh. He's kicked 2 points tonight. He had a decent first half, but perhaps his influence waning.
Yeah, I think in actual fact that's probably a safety precaution, because Donncha's only coming back from a torn hamstring. He's been out for the bones of a month really, and I think that they were always only going to give him about 40 or 40. He's lasted 50 minutes, which is quite good really, and David has made a great impact actually in the league. He didn't have the greatest game against Mayo and made an early exit after about 20 minutes, but in general he's really gelled well with the forward line, and I definitely think that he's one that could potentially at least make the championship panel this season.
Well, one man certainly looking to make an impact on the championship panel is David Moore, and that's a wonderfully struck free kick from him, and it's a third of the night for the Cairns O'Rahilly's man. And he kicked 3 points so far in the league, and 6 now for him. And Kerry increased their lead to 5 once again. It's Philip Jordan for Tyrone. That was a good run made through the middle, and the slip from Seamus Scanlon allows Sean Kavanagh to bear down on goal. And he had Aidan O'Mahony shouldering him in the back, and it's a free for Tyrone. And Tyrone just injecting a little bit of pace into their attack.
Yeah, that was a great run there by Sean Kavanagh. In fairness, he didn't have much. He had to go alone on that one, and I think he was lucky enough that the Kerry backs were better off and just holding up, and I think that was a really easy free to give away. There was about 4 of them chasing him. He was paddling solo at that stage, but should be an easy tap over for Tyrone, and you know they're just about keeping in touch.
Was there a huge difference between the shoulder and the bank there from Aidan O'Mahony and the pull on the jersey of Colm Cooper that we saw second yellow for Colm McCarran?
No, I think it's in the book. If you pull the jersey, you get a yellow card there. I think there wasn't much to that one.
Martin Penrose converts the first of the night for him. And with still just 20 minutes left to play, it really is now a scrap for Tyrone for the Division 1 lives. They need to make something happen. Trailing by 4. And so often over the years, Tyrone have got themselves out of positions similar to this. And big names sitting in the stands, they can't help this evening. Mark O'Shea for Kerry. The first touch of the night for young David O'Callaghan. Back to Scanlon. Darren O'Sullivan, well, he puts Peter Hart on his backside, looks in field, and he was there looking for David Moran. It wasn't the greatest pass. But Moran tracks back there, looking for Philip Jordan, his man, and the referee allows play to continue. Sean Kavanagh looks to put the burners on, sells the dummy on Killian Young. Well taken by Tommy McGuigan. And Davy Hart was told to look over to the left because there is Colm Kavanagh. And that's just trailing away back to the right. It's well held by Brendan Keeley, and Kerry have the opportunity to build from the back once again. Colm Cooper receives it in from Aidan O'Mahony. Looks to get past Carlin, but Carlin is sticking to his guns over on that left-hand side. And things just getting a little bit out of hand over on that far touchline. It's a free out for Tyrone, but Cooper was reluctant to let go of possession. And really, Pádraig Hughes, the Armagh referee, well, he's got a lot on his plate just at the moment.
Yeah, I think Colm was getting a little overzealous, and then Sean Kavanagh came in and held his foot, and I think just when he was about to kick that ball off, Colm Cooper kicked back with the leg. We might see the run-on of that play.
And in the end, it is a yellow card for Colm Cooper. Yeah, Tyrone now with Colm Kavanagh. Well, certainly not short on incident this match in Healy Park. These two sides have shared the last 7 All-Ireland titles, and neither wants to be playing in Division 2 of the National Football League next season. And a huge roar goes up for Brian McGuigan coming onto the field in place of his brother Tommy. Not a bad substitution to be able to make when the chips are down, Killian.
Yeah, and Brian is an opportunity here now. He's coming back from a bit of injury. He's got an opportunity now over the next 18 minutes to make an impact on the game. You know, Tyrone are keeping in touch, and a goal could really bring them right back into this. And I think it's Aidan O'Mahony now that's actually the free man that's playing there. He made a great run up the centre there in the last run of play, so I think he's the man that's going to be on the ball there. It's a very assured catch there by Brendan Keeley. He made one just before that as well, and I think really he's making a real play for that number 1 spot for the championship team.
Well, he's certainly got a firm grip on the number 1 jersey at the moment. He's performed well in the league so far. David Hennessy is the sub-goalkeeper tonight. A lot of space to spiping a man down for Tyrone here. It's with Sean Kavanagh. Here's the new man, Brian McGuigan, looking for form, looking for his man. It's Kyle Coney is the target, and somehow Coney's kept that ball in play, puts it onto the left foot, and really the umpires confused as to what their decision is. In the end, they do signal a wide, and Kyle Coney, perhaps rightly so, questioning the delay it took in making that decision.
Yeah, I think the umpire, it wasn't really his side, and he was going to wave it wide, looked over for a response from the other umpire. That was a great piece of play by Coney. I don't know how he kept that ball in. Mark O'Shea was closely contesting him and right on his foot, but I think it was just over to the left and wide. A little unassured by the umpire.
Another change by Jack O'Connor. It's Brian Sheehan, the county captain for this year. Anthony Marr, the Kerry midfielder, is the man to make way.
Yeah, Anthony Marr really failed to make an impact there. It was all Seamus Scanlon there tonight, and Anthony will be very disappointed with that.
Brian Sheehan has also had his injury problems this year, but he's returning to full fitness. An extremely talented attacker on his day, and desperate to cement a side in a place in the starting side for the championship, given that he is the captain for 2010. It's David Moran, who really has seen so much of the ball in the Kerry attack tonight. Donaghy among a number of players looking to get to this. He does make it. Back to Darren O'Sullivan. Looks for the right to left kick off his left boot, and that's a wonderful score from Darren O'Sullivan. A second for him, and a real knife in the heart of Tyrone.
Yeah, and that all came from Kieran Donaghy. There was about 5 men around that ball, and he just went down with, got it underfoot and got away and gave Darren every chance to pop it over the bar on his favourite left foot, outside of the left. That was a great score.
Yeah, Darren O'Sullivan certainly enjoyed watching that drop over the black spot, and Kerry have re-established their 5-point advantage. It's Aidan Cassidy for Tyrone. Jordan down to Owen Mulligan, and Tom O'Sullivan all over Muggsy there.
Well, if you look, there's 6 defenders between Sean Kavanagh and Aidan Cassidy there in the full forward line. And
Sean Kavanagh now with the free, long way out for Tyrone. And that's another wide racked up. That's 8 now for the Tyrone men, and really trailing by 5. They can't afford to be giving those chances up.
yeah, there's been far better economy there from the Kerry forward line. I think they've only had 4 wides in the whole game, so they really have their kicking boots on there tonight, and that'll be very heartening for Jack O'Connor. But Mickey Hart is really looking to see if he can get some of these guys to step up to the plate now in the last 14 minutes. There's still plenty of time really to get back into this game, but it's looking more and more harder with the extra man with going Kerry's way.
And the ball spilled in midfield. It's into the hands of Colm Kavanagh, down towards Owen Mulligan. And Tom O'Sullivan, as ever, sticking to him like a leech. It's back to Kavanagh and Brendan Keeley. Well, he hasn't dropped a single ball tonight, and he doesn't look like he's about to. Very composed in the Kerry goal mouth. Tommy Griffin out to Declan O'Sullivan, and now it's with Killian Young, and a first touch for Brian Sheehan. It's a clever run made by Darren O'Sullivan. It's just gone beyond him. Philip Jordan cleans up for Tyrone. And here comes Dermot Carlin, and Tyrone really passing the ball on quickly. Good movement. Martin Penrose, the playmaker in tonight's side. Brian McGuigan for Tyrone. And Colm Kavanagh, well, he just about evaded the challenge of Sheehan as he came back. And route 1 for Davy Hart, and the target was Kyle Coney. And a rather needless free given away by Aidan O'Mahony, and we said already, O'Mahony, one of those Kerry men on a yellow card. He needs to watch himself.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a trip there. I don't know if it was intentional, but Aidan is really living on the edge now at this point. He's given away quite a lot of frees even since his first booking, and he'd be very lucky to stay on the pitch if he doesn't watch himself.
Well, maybe that is Aidan O'Mahony's last chance with the referee. He may have used up all of his lives. So Martin Penrose, Tyrone really struggling to eat into this Kerry lead. They haven't got it below 4 since the goal from Declan O'Sullivan. And Martin Penrose brings it back to that gap of 4 points. And just over 11 minutes left on the clock. Well, Tyrone are going to make it happen tonight. It needs to start now.
Yeah.
Another change for Mickey Hart's men. It's Kyle Coney making way, and Sean O'Neill coming into the half-forward line.
Yeah, Kerry are giving away an awful lot of very handy frees for Tyrone and letting them stay in touch with the Kerry side, and that's really disappointing, I think, because
Tyrone can't seem to infiltrate from play. When they get up to the danger zone, they're really lost in terms of the Kerry defence crowding that area.
Declan O'Sullivan for Kerry. Tommy Griffin. Well, Tommy Griffin found himself in the Tyrone half for the first time, and he dearly would have loved a better pass there from the Drummond man, Declan O'Sullivan. And Davy Hart with the free for Tyrone. And Kerry loading up on the big men towards the back. Kieran Donaghy playing in the half-back line as we speak. David Moore providing the height towards the front lines at the moment, but there's no need for him just now. It's Tyrone on the attack. It's broken well by Sean Kavanagh. He's been moved in towards the full forward, and he took a hefty blow to the face there as he claimed possession from that ball in.
Yeah, I think he just pushed the hands into the eyes there, and well, if Pádraig Hughes is going to be consistent, then that really should be a yellow card.
It does look like Tommy Griffin has got away with that challenge. Well, he is being called over now to Pádraig Hughes. And Tommy Griffin will become the 7th Kerry man to enter the book of the referee tonight. Tyrone themselves have had 4 yellow cards. Unfortunately, 2 of those went to Colin McCarran. But the sting with these yellow cards, these frees, and the time that the Kerry defenders have on the ball, Killian, the sting really been taken out of the game. It's so difficult for Tyrone to gain the momentum that they need.
Yeah, as I said just a little earlier there, I mean, Kerry are really giving away some silly frees in the centre of the goal. I mean, they're in the ascendancy. They've got 15 men against 14. Bring a man back and crowd up that defensive area and stop giving away handy frees for Tyrone, because Tyrone are staying in the game. Now, granted, there's four points between them at this point, but there's still a lot of time there, and if they can,
this is the sending off offence for Cathal McCarran. 2 yellow cards he received. The second for the tugging the jersey of Colm Cooper, and really he left the field shaking his head. Perhaps couldn't have had too many arguments with the decision taken by Pádraig Hughes, but really so early in the second half it made Tyrone's job so much more difficult. And Jack O'Connor about to introduce another change to his side. It'll be Pádraig Reedy making his way off the field. And still treatment been given to Sean Kavanagh after that challenge from Tommy Griffin. And it's Adrian O'Connell coming in. He's shone well in the league so far, the St Michael's foil moorman.
Adrian O'Connell has done quite well in the league so far. He's gotten his chance there. He was actually involved with Jack back in 2006 as well, and he's done quite well. He's got a couple of county championships to his name as well, and also an intermediate All-Ireland club championship. But I think it was unfortunate there for Sean Kavanagh, but he got it right in the eyes. Got Tommy Griffin, got him right in the eyes, and that's a really sore dose. I'm going to have another look at it here.
Yeah, Sean Kavanagh does look to be in some discomfort there, but he's back on his feet and he looks like he's going to continue. There was a big challenge that he took from Tommy Griffin, as some of Tyrone's big names look on. And off camera, Martin Penrose puts the ball over the bar, his 3rd of the night, closes the gap ever further. And could we have a sting in the tail of this game? It was the goals that Tyrone scored against Cork that won the game for them to pick up their first win of the season. One gets the impression they'll need a green flag to be raised if they're to get themselves back into this game. Plenty of time for them to do it. It's Aidan O'Connell for the first time. Sorry, Killian. A nice contribution to make for your first touch. Just the second mark of the game, and that was a big challenge from Aidan O'Mahony. He's involved again, and really should Aidan start walking towards the touchline before he even sees the second yellow. And was that a straight red, Killian? We'll get that clarified regardless of whether it was a second yellow or a straight. The odds have been evened up because we're back to 14 men apiece.
Well, now this is what Tyrone just wanted. They've got within shooting distance. There's only 1 score between them at this point, and now they're evened up, 14 versus 14. We still have plenty time left on the clock. Let's see it here. Oh yeah, that was just ridiculous by Aidan O'Mahony. He knew he was living on the edge as it was. We've yet to see now whether it was a straight red, and this will be a bit worrying. I think it was a straight red in actual fact.
Card for Aidan O'Mahony, and really a man of his experience, has been playing with the Kerry team since 2004. An inexcusable act, and it was only going to end in one way, regardless of whether it was another yellow or a red card. 14 men apiece.
Well, this is really throwing the cat among the pigeons, because Kerry really need to win this game. There's only one game left in the league, and now they'll be without their centre-back Aidan O'Mahony. Doesn't look like Mike McCarthy's coming back into the scene, so Jack O'Connor is going to be really upset with that one.
It's Kieran Donaghy up against Philip Jordan. The spare man gone for Kerry. 5 minutes left to play here in Healy Park, and have Tyrone got one last surge left in them. It's Brian Sheehan to Declan O'Sullivan, jinked one way, and the run made inside. It was a long ball in from Seamus Scanlon towards Colm Cooper. As Tyrone looked to break, just about retaining possession here, Tyrone. Peter Hart in towards Colm Kavanagh, and despite now being down to 14 men apiece, Kerry opting to keep Kieran Donaghy back in a defensive role. He's currently just in front of the full back line. Martin Penrose for Tyrone, and he skips past the challenge of David Moran. That was an attempt on goal, but just not quite enough on it. It could have broken badly for the Kerry full back line. And really it's all getting a little bit frantic there in the Kerry defence. They have a free and they can perhaps just settle themselves. But the options for Killian Young as he stands over this free, few and far between. And it is Donaghy that shows and receives. It's a clever run down the left-hand touchline. It's Tyrone O'Sullivan now for Kerry, and just let the ball get away from him, and the shoulder came in from Conor Gormley.
I think you can sense, the crowd can sense that there's a bit of vulnerability creeping into the Kerry setup here now, and they're really getting behind their team, and I think that the Tyrone side are really going to push forward now in the last few minutes. They sense that there's an opportunity here.
Sean Kavanagh seems to be back in this game after that blow from Tommy Griffin. It's back to Conor Gormley. A lot of space over on the left-hand side for Martin Penrose. Looks to shape it from right to left. And that's a wonderful score for Martin Penrose, a fourth of the night, his first from play, and suddenly there's just two between them.
Yeah, it's no more than they deserve, really. Tyrone have worked really hard, you know, with the 14 men, and I think it's no more than they deserve now to get within striking distance of them. There's a bit of time left on the clock there.
Well, as Martin Penrose looked towards the post, he had one idea in mind, and he shaped that kick beautifully. This is the Aidan O'Mahony incident again, Killian, and I suppose he might be a little embarrassed when he looks back on it, perhaps during the week.
Yeah, Aidan has a propensity really to do a few headless things going back. They're known as tough men back there in Rathmore, and I think he'll be very disappointed with that now, heading into the break before the final round of the league.
It's Peter Hart for Tyrone, and surrounded by three Kerry men, and in the end it's the defenders that get the nod from the referee. A disappointing outcome there for Peter Hart, because Tyrone really need to make the best of every chance that comes their way.
Yeah, Peter Hart really, for me, hasn't got into the game there. He's another of Mickey Hart's nephews, along with Davy, and
Scanlon under pressure immediately there from Cassidy. And really the Tyrone fans feeling that one or two decisions beginning to go there against them.
Yeah, the blood's up with Seamus Scanlon. He's played a powerful game there today, leading the men by example. Another man there, David Moran, has scrapped very hard, a little bit headless at times, but Philip Jordan has had enough of it in the second half, and let's see now if Kerry can get another score.
Entering the closing 60 seconds here in Healy Park, it's Kerry who lead by 2. The lead is 2 points. The reward would be 2 league points. That would surely mean they'll be plying their trade in Division 1 next season. What of Tyrone, though? Still stuck towards the bottom with Derry on just the 1 win. And with Kerry playing their way around the Tyrone half at the moment, it's looking ominous for the men from the Red Hand County. It's Declan O'Sullivan, skips past the challenge, looks to retain possession. And the ankles of Sean Kavanagh clipped there. He's really been in the wars in the last few minutes.
Powerful bit of defending there from Sean Kavanagh, kept his eye on the ball.
And really trailing by 2. It perhaps is the most dangerous of leads in Gaelic football. It does look like Tyrone will require a goal. Brian McGuigan, look how deep he is, trying to play his way out of trouble. And David O'Callaghan, well, that was probably what we might call a professional foul there.
Slowing down the play a bit there, I think, Dave.
And yet another yellow card. And Killian, if as it looks at the moment that Kerry bring the 2 points back, Jack O'Connor will be delighted that they've managed to come into the bear pit that is Healy Park and left with the points. But Tyrone may well have a say in that yet. We still don't know the added time. 3 minutes to be played. Plenty of time for Tyrone to get the score that they need.
It's going to be the bare minimum between them now, Dave, and this should be a fairly handy pop over the bar. And I think Kerry now at the end they'll be looking back on this, and they certainly might rue those very handy frees that they've been giving Tyrone to help them keep in this game and keep it in touching distance. There's 3. Oh, that is a really, really bad miss there. That's a really, really bad wide. Owen Mulligan is disgusted.
The amused look on the face of Owen Mulligan. And really, it would have left just the bare minimum between the teams, and God, Owen Mulligan will not want to see that one again. So as it stands, Tyrone still needing a goal. It's broken well by Seamus Scanlon. He wins the free. 90 seconds left to play of it at the time. David Moran looks downfield towards Cooper. Colin Cooper steps in onto his favourite left foot. He looks for support. And no intention of turning towards goal. Kerry looking to play down the clock. Kieran O'Donoghue gets past the challenge of Jordan. And this time he does look for goal. Well, perhaps considering the wide, almost as good as a score at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, there's only, I think, one minute left in it now. And I don't know at this stage of... I think there's something happening up the field again now. Yeah, I think we've got Colin Kavanagh. He's getting a talking to and a yellow card. Kieran Donaghy's done quite well there in support of Seamus Scanlon at midfield. He's come out in the second half there, and lovely block down from him there again.
Jordan goes down and the ball wins the free. And Donaghy shouldered off it there by Conor Gormley. And Tyrone really just eating into their own injury time. They're the team that need this score. A lot of the Tyrone forwards and half forwards gravitating towards the square. One last onslaught from the Red Hand County. Davy Hart, will he drop it in towards the square? Down towards Colin Kavanagh and Owen Mulligan, and it's broken brilliantly there by David Moran. Fisting the ball anywhere into the last couple of seconds here. It's Davy Hart again. And Kerry just about getting that ball clear. That was the opportunity for Tyrone to steal 2 valuable points. The ball back in again from Brian McGuigan. It's all over the place, and Tyrone have got a goal. Incredible scenes in Healy Park. Tyrone, Colin Kavanagh, a vital goal against Cork 2 weeks ago. He's popped up again, the Moy club man, and Healy Park, the roof has just been blown from this ground.
Oh, Colin Kavanagh, he's been fairly quiet all day, but God, what a time to come up. We'll have another look at this here. Oh, where was the marking? Everyone was going for that ball.
And the final whistle has been blown. That was the last moment of an enthralling encounter here at Healy Park. Delight on the faces of the players and the fans alike, because that 74th minute intervention from Colin Kavanagh has perhaps breathed new life into Tyrone's scrap to avoid relegation from Division 1 of the Alliance National Football League. A brilliant game here with a brilliant ending, and Mickey Hart absolutely delighted with the last few moments of this encounter. It's Kerry having the points ripped from their paws in the closing seconds. Delight for Tyrone. They take on Dublin here in 2 weeks' time, knowing that victory will put their destiny in their own hands. At full time in Healy Park, the 2 points go to Tyrone. They've won by a single point here. It's Tyrone a goal and 11 points. Kerry 110.
We were just rifling through the record books trying to find the last time that Tyrone weren't in the top flight of the Allianz National Football League, but I think we'll have to go back to the drawing board because that win incredibly vital now. It looks like if they can beat Dublin in Omagh next weekend, or sorry, in Tyrone next weekend at Healy Park, they will stay in Division 1. What an end, lads. That was great crack. Who saw it coming? Come on.
Where do you begin? Although, when you look at the stats there, Kerry didn't score from the 55th minute on, and Lisa and Paul were saying for the last 5 or 6 minutes, Tyrone could win this. You know, they went for the juggler there late on, and they just got the scores. You know, interesting enough, the ball, there was only 5 seconds left on the clock, and we were at 2 minutes 55 seconds when that last sideline ball went in, you know, for them to get the goal. But they went for the juggler, and it worked out for them.
Absolutely, and to be fair to them, 14 men. You know, from, I don't know, was it 48th minute of the game? Kerry 5 points ahead at that stage.
Yeah.
Never say die attitude. They ran at them. But and fair play to them for achieving that in the end. But you have to question Kerry. Kerry 5 points ahead. They went into cruise mode. They went back. They defended the lead. In football, you never ever defend a lead.
I heard you say that, yeah. You're dead right.
Absolutely, and Kerry got a great start.
This is the breakthrough, you know. Declan Sullivan dispossesses a man. We were confident most players would have gone for the points, but he works a lovely one too and strolls it into the net, and that's exactly what Kerry do, you know. And they were in cruise control, and they sat back after this, and they allowed Tyrone to run at them. You know, they literally got scored 1-3 in the second half, you know. But again, Declan Sullivan, lovely finish, and we thought it was game over with Tyrone down to 14 men. As you said, Kerry in cruise control until Aidan O'Mahony, stupid sending off, red card, and brings it back level, you know.
Here's the goal. I mean, last play of the game.
Yeah, the goalkeeper there, Brendan Healy, did wonderfully well, and David Moore wonderfully well again, and you thought that was the chance gone. And here, who is it? Joe McMahon, isn't it?
John McMahon, yeah, this is John McMahon. Lovely fist back, yeah.
Fist back, and
everybody following the ball.
And that's exactly what Mickey Hart does, you know. Positions go out the window. He's told everyone go forward, you know, and you know, great finish.
And the new, I suppose, the new square or the rectangle rule.
Everybody's allowed
in the square, the small rectangle, and it worked for them in that stage. And
which Kerry back was there who didn't just lash it out for behind for a 40?
Well, I suppose in the last minute of the game when the pressure is on, maybe
you're not thinking.
Concentration is out the
Look,
window.
we got drama, and really, it didn't look likely. It looked like Kerry were actually in cruise control, as the lads were saying. But no, Tyrone have saved their Division 1 life, we think, with the very last action of that. So fantastic. But that's not all the football.